Today's episode is brought to you by the Vegas Beer Guys.
Everything sequel contains explicit language. And why the fudge not, you melon farmer?
Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel Podcast. This is the Blade Edition. Today we're pitching sequels. Michael Shantz here of the How Dare You Awards. Joining me, you know who he is. He's going to pitch something great. Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions. Say hello, Tom.
Like hammered shit. I feel like hammered shit after having to talk about Blade Trinity.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
I feel like I
I'll
was
tell
in
you
that.
much.
I was in that blood capsule for 2 to 4 years. Whatever the movie tells us it is.
Yeah, exactly. Hammered shit.
It's great.
He's great.
He is. Yeah, it's a great character for him. Great couple of performances. Sure, he's good in the first movie as well. I'll find out tonight.
There you go. You'll have to let me know.
Yeah. Because I can't let the original infect my my opinion.
Your pitch?
I can't let it affect anything.
How great would it be if you pitched the first movie?
Well,
by accident.
It's certainly possible. I definitely think that there's if you're gonna go by the spirit of these movies, you can really etch a sketch it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like a brand new team of allies and villains.
Well, and
every
that's the
time.
thing. Yeah, exactly. You know, the convention of the series is Blade's always there, but you're kind of starting from zero every single time.
Right. It's like,
So in that way, pitching a sequel, you're not constrained. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You could even bring Whistler back. Why not? They did.
Yeah. It's sort of like,
Which I considered. I was like, there's a trap door. He went through it. He made it appear that he was dead.
I mean, you could pretty much they've set the bar so low on the criteria for resurrection that you could pretty much do what you wanted. But it's kind of interesting, like building a series around the character, but not his kind of not the unit around him.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no
defining team other
yeah,
than...
there's no like Batcave or
Yeah.
Fortress of Solitude or like his team of allies that he's always falling back on, like James Bond, or there's none of that.
Sure.
And yet there's a new one, but it's different every time, which is what I kind of find fascinating. That they make the joke in the Lego Batman movie about, he talks about how alone he is, and then, in the background there's a parade of all his sidekicks, and there's like 10 different ones. It's just like brilliantly done. But Blade is the real deal. Like he is out there on his own with no support.
Except usually Whistler and then a new team every single time.
Right, yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, because he has that... when you watch it later tonight, you're going to see the woman he's teamed up with in the first Blade, and she's never mentioned again in the sequels, now that I think about it.
So is that your pitch, what happened in the 2 to 4 years between Blade 1 and Blade 2?
Exactly. A whole other adventure in which she died.
Well, something must have happened, right?
And the last line is Blade looking at Whistler and saying, "We're never going to talk of this again."
What? So wait, Blade the Whistler has to die again before the beginning of the second movie in your.
Oh fuck! You're
pitch.
right. Damn it.
And by the way, I'm going to shoot you in the head. Let some vampires suck on you for 2 to 4 years. Right. I'll come rescue you.
Oh.
The Whistler
they don't make
problem,
it easy.
Everyone.
I said it should be easy, but the series doesn't make it easy for you, does it? Trying to keep up with everybody who's dead or not dead and how they died and whether or not they died and whether or not they can come back.
Yeah. I guess the only advantage to having pitching a sequel to a series where one of the films basically works is that you know what works in this formula, and you have the ability, because there's not a great deal of consistency between the movies.
Mm-hmm.
You can reinvent it so it speaks better to what you like about the series. And no one's gonna sort of say that's not the formula or that's not my Blade,
right?
Because that idea is so disparate.
Sure.
So that's the only advantage to it, but yeah, I mean, but it's also daunting because you can retrofit your own movie around the Blade formula. Both the movies we've done do that.
Right.
You know, Del Toro is road testing The Strain, and using Blade as a vehicle for that. And you know, the third movie, as far as we can tell, is kind of like a Dracula movie featuring Blade.
Right.
So it's.
But the thing about that movie too is it never rises to the level of Dracula. It never feels like Dracula. It's like, and they don't even call him Dracula. They call him Drake. It feels like it's in name only. So it.
Yeah. Well, they mentioned Bram. I mean, they mentioned Bram Stoker. And I was like, don't you dare! Don't weaponize his
how
name.
dare you? Shut up.
But it's interesting. Like if you look at the two movies, one is Frankenstein, one is Dracula.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
And yet, one director. Well, it's the same writer, so it's hard to sort of compare and contrast the same guy.
It's so strange.
But within the frame of one movie, they're able to do that story without, but letting you know that that's what they're referencing without hitting you over the head with it. But in Blade Trinity, they come out of the gate saying this is Dracula. And that was like a weird choice. I mean, before they mentioned that, I was just calling this guy an ancient evil. And there's really no reason they couldn't have kept it at that.
Yeah.
It would not change a thing if he was just the oldest vampire in the world.
Right.
That's all it is, which, that's not really Dracula. Either, no.
Yeah.
Dracula's kind of his own thing. This is kind of like a specific guy who turned into a vampire.
Turned into a vampire knight in shining armor.
That's right. And what was the nonsense they were spewing about? What he went on a gap year or something at some point. Don't they say something along those lines that he was just like, he wanted to travel and why did he go into hiding? I can't remember. I don't
remember.
But they talk about it as if he's kind of like, as if there's a reason for him to have gone into hiding. Anyway.
Really?
Doesn't matter. There's something I should have.
It really
written it down, but it really didn't. I guess I didn't write it down because it doesn't matter. It affected nothing.
Yeah.
They found him in a hole. That's it. I would have been fine with that explanation. We had a map to where Dracula was buried, and we found him in a hole.
That's great.
I mean, that's the story,
Well, that leaves us with our
polish a turd.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, that leaves us with the task of trying to come up with one last story for Wesley Snipes' Blade before Mahershala Ali takes over.
Oh, that's how you see it. This is...
Yeah, I think that's how I was
Okay, interesting.
regarding it.
I mean, I'm just denying the existence of any kind of reboot. I think this is should only be. It's a bit like Indiana Jones. It should only be.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It should only be a Harrison Ford. That should only be a Harrison Ford series. This should only be a Wesley Snipes series.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no Solo in. That's essentially what the reboot is. It's like because they find a guy who sort of looks like Wesley Snipes. If you put shades on him. In the same way that, you know, they found a guy who sort of looks like Harrison Ford if he's holding his gun in the right way.
Well, so when you decided to tackle the Blade series, did you have to wrestle with this, or you just had kind of carte blanche to do whatever you wanted and it wasn't difficult at all?
It was I wanted to... I was taking the carte blanche to do whatever I want with the series based on the two films we've seen, but also kind of mining the two movies for what I responded to the most.
Mm-hmm.
So they were a template for what I did in a couple of different ways.
All right.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't know. You think about what you're left with at the end of Blade Trinity, and you think, like, do I want to use anything here?
Yeah.
Or do I literally want to start at zero? Or like I said, because I considered, hey, everyone, Whistler's not dead.
Yeah.
But that felt so cheap. But, it's one of those things that's funny because the idea to kill him again in a third movie felt cheap in and of itself.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly at least doing it so early on. But that was just to try to make the series younger by bringing in Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds. That's literally the only reason.
Yeah.
And that feels stupid and cheap.
But also, I mean, nothing's really happened since Blade 2.
Right.
Story-wise.
Yeah.
Because the Dracula death didn't affect anything outside the building, as you noted. So.
Right. So, and it's funny you say that because I ended up trying to make something of that.
Okay.
As my starting point.
All right. Let's hear it.
All right.
Unless you have any more to say about the...
No, I don't think I do. I mean, this is not going to take long. It's pretty straightforward.
It better, it's got to be 2 hours of film. Right. It's got to add up to 2 hours of film, apparently. Or, according to modern day standards, 3.
See, that's the thing, though. I think all of these movies should go for 140 max.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. You could do a cut of both these movies that's 140 if you took out the slow motion walking. At least.
And shave 2 to 3 minutes off of every fight.
Which you absolutely could, couldn't you?
To keep them at 8 to 10 minutes.
Maybe that discontinuous editing you were talking about would sort of solve itself.
Right, exactly.
if you shed like a few minutes off each sequence.
So I have concerns because this harkens.
That's your title?
Back,
Blade.
Yeah,
I have concerns.
Blade. I have concerns. I do have concerns because this does kind of harken back to aspects of Blade 2, but I decided to go with this, and this is what I'm doing.
Can I just say before that, I think this series is in dire need of what you just talked about, which is course correction to the template of an earlier movie.
Mm.
Well, and we've talked before about, you know, coming in a long running series, and course correcting. You know, the way Nightmare did, the way the Exorcist series did.
Yeah, right.
I would also say the way the Friday the 13th series did, but with even instead of odd numbers. Star Trek, you know, Star Trek movies. It's like oh, okay, well, that didn't work out too well. Let's
regroup.
Yeah. let's bring Nicholas Meyer back in.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't have to look at Shatner's brain again for 2 hours. Star Trek V, Shatner's brain.
There you go.
Carry on, sorry.
Too much. So I am calling my sequel Blade Lost Souls.
Oh.
Yes.
I like it. Is it the wait a minute. This is the second Souls in a row. Isn't it, for you? You have Well of Souls for the last one?
I think you're right.
What's going on? What's
I got souls on the brain.
You got souls on the brain. You just buy some new shoes, or what's going on?
Papa's got a brand new soul.
Oh. Lost Souls. It's a good title, though.
All right.
I bet
you don't say that often.
No, well, I bet it'll apply more than that Well of Souls that played very little.
I admit that my Well of Souls, I just forgot to mention, you know, the point of the Well of Souls.
Okay.
That was stupid on my part. Where does Blade take place, by the way?
That's a really good question. To which I have not. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it's always. I mean, isn't it Los Angeles?
It looks like Los Angeles usually, doesn't it?
I think they mentioned that it's Los Angeles at once.
Because I want to set this in New York.
Okay. Well, it's not really, well, you know, he's got a car. He can go anywhere.
True.
And a bike. I don't know where he puts the bike when he's in his car. So
what I'm choosing to do is stick with essentially the end of Blade Trinity, in which Whistler's daughter is alive.
Uh-huh.
She's working with Blade. I've
totally forgotten that, by the way.
Yeah. She's working with Blade. What I'm going to do is Ryan Reynolds is dead.
Mm-hmm.
He has been killed off screen in the further adventures.
Yeah.
This at least gives the character that Jessica Biel is playing a place to start with. And she and Blade have some friction because she has, you know, a new Scooby Gang that she'd like to bring in that helps her with the gadgets and the toys. And Blade is saying,
so you're saying that the Scooby Gang we had in Blade Trinity was like Ryan Reynolds, and like Abigail was like, no, I'd like to hire these people, and he's like, no,
well, I'm saying is like that gang died.
Oswalt and the blind woman.
So what I'm trying to do is at least give stakes to what the choices they're making. So that gang died. She knows of other people in New York. That brings them to New York. That helps her with gadgets.
Yeah.
But Blade won't allow her to bring them in and work all together as a team, because his experience over the 3 movies is, listen, every time we bring in a team, they fucking die. I will allow you, as a Whistler, to stay with me and keep working with me, and that's the extent of it.
Right.
So we're going to have
we're going to find out what she's like as a person.
Exactly. She's got a
no
loss.
Evidence of that.
Because even though there's no reason, like, even though Blade Trinity doesn't show this at all, as I recall, I'm going to say that she and Ryan Reynolds were in a relationship. And and that she has suffered that loss. And she's kind of gone into worker bee mode. And she's sort of losing her humanity by always working with Blade. You might say she herself is a lost soul.
No, you have to say that because it's in your title.
Exactly. And Blade, so I think what I want to do is have a cold open in which Blade is in the streets of New York.
Just one.
And he's taking on the full force of vampires with the help of Jessica Biel, and it's a setup. What happens is Blade gets bitten, and now Blade is in jeopardy of losing that part of himself, the Daywalker. He's going to become something else. Yeah. And it was like a conspiracy.
Can that happen?
Huh?
Do we know that can happen?
I'm saying it happens.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't know that was
in
that
this.
was
no
ever going to
fucking
be
rules in this series.
Because he's half a vampire, doesn't that mean he can't become any more vampire?
Well, I wrestled with that. Part of it was like, do I have a pre-opening cold scene in which vampire scientists are at work building this hybrid,
right?
Specifically to bite him, and it's like a conspiracy to force Blade to become one of them, so that they take him off the board, they eliminate him.
Yeah.
But what it also does is, because he is who he is, and because he's a Daywalker, his body is fighting it. And so it allows him and Whistler to try and keep trying to make, formulas. He's always injecting shit or sucking on shit. And so, he's got this computer thing where, like, they keep trying new formulas to cut out what he's done, or rather what's happening to him, and it keeps failing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, it's like one of those many virus movies where you see it working, dies. That kind of thing.
Right.
And meanwhile, the vampires have also been slowly building an army underground.
Oh.
And they are going to unleash the army to take over what they want as a city of their own. And they're going to take over New York.
Don't they have a whole nation?
Do they?
So, but they call in the second movie they called it they said the Vampire Nation.
Oh, I don't know that, like, they have a physical place though.
Okay. Is it like Native Americans? Are we on their land?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
well, at any rate,
why I'm team vampire all the way.
So, second act, because none of these movies reveal what the plan is until the second or start of the third act.
That's right.
So Whistler and Blade are gonna finally start understanding the true plot and what these vampires are up to, and they decide, we have to go on a mission. And so the third act, we're gonna be, what I want is that, and this is where I was saying it kind of harkens back to the second one because it's all underground.
Yeah.
But in that one, it was just sort of overwhelming forces and, there's vampires running all over the place. In this one, I really want that sense of claustrophobia. And because of the magnitude of what it is they have to do, Blade is now willing to take on a new Scooby Gang. So we meet the Scooby Gang, and they all have to decide for themselves. Are you willing to go on this what could be a suicide mission?
Right.
They might have overwhelming numbers. We don't know. We have these new gadgets. We have this. We have that. But this is going to be a shit show. And so each one of them are going to decide to make that choice, and then we go underground and, will Blade prevail? My idea was that everybody in the Scooby Gang, including Whistler, dies,
Right.
But Blade wins, and then the last thing he does is when he comes up, he sees the last computer model she puts in, dings and says it's 100% ready. So the last thing she did was save his life.
Oh. Okay.
And that's the end of Blade Lost Souls.
All right.
Blade's in jeopardy of losing himself. All these people decide to lose themselves.
Mm.
She finds her humanity again by saving Blade. Done.
And is Blade is back to Blade again? There's no. He can zoom off on his bike, or is he?
Yeah, exactly. Once he has that formula she gave him, he's back
not
to
going to
old
stay
Blade.
with the Scooby Gang of the week.
Well, they all die.
They all die.
Yeah.
So he was right all along.
Right. And Blade's
Don't
by himself
work with
now.
other people.
So at this point,
So how's he going to justify
when I
doing
leave
it in
Blade,
the next movie?
Blade has laid destruction to everything he knows or cares about even this much. They all die.
Wow. Okay. So yeah,
There you have it.
should be called Everybody Dies. Blade. Everybody dies.
Blade.
Everybody knew dies.
Yeah, we're going to call it Blade Death Galore.
Oh, okay.
There you have it.
Yeah, I think that's a solid pitch.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that you've sort of done a nice projection of what a Blade sequel could be.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, killed all the right people, and
Exactly.
and you know, given us a movie where we can right some of the wrongs that we've had in the past movie.
There you go.
All right.
I'm very interested, though. Where does Tom Stewart go?
Well, you'll be interested to know I ran with one of your
Whistler Lives.
Your earlier ideas. One of those ideas that you summarily dismissed out of hand. No doubt correctly. I have made the basis of my movie.
It's called Blade Resurrection.
Pretty much. It's called... Except I didn't want to use Resurrection because that's dooming the movie to failure.
Right.
Right? There's no good Resurrection subtitle movie out there, is there? No, the movie is called Blade.
Wakey Wakey.
And then you get Wakey you get Blade Wakey Wakey, and then the next movie is Blade Rise and Shine.
Right.
And then the third one, and then the next trilogy ends with Time to Get Up Sleepyhead.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's fine. It was worth it. The name of my sequel is Blade Divinity.
All right.
So we pick up where we left off.
Solid title.
Solid title. Yeah, that's the only solid aspect of this. It's the title. And only because it rhymes a little bit with Trinity.
Yeah.
Actually, is that more confusing that it rhymes?
I don't know.
You'll be just like, wait, you mean Blade Trinity or Blade Divinity?
Which one's which again?
Exactly, yeah.
Which one's the one where Whistler dies a second time?
So Blade is driving about in his car. It's basically the post-credit sting.
Yeah.
So we're picking up immediately. Whistler emerges from the back seat of the car. And Blade says, I thought you were dead. And he says, so did I. That's our cold open. So we're into.
Is this going to be a Mr. Brooks situation?
Possibly. So he immediately takes him to Patton Oswalt.
But he's dead.
For tests. Is Patton Oswalt dead?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's resurrected too.
No, oh god. So no one's alive?
No, they're all dead except for
Jesus
Ryan Reynolds and
fucking
Jessica
Christ.
Biel.
Okay, well I suppose it's got to be those two chumps then. Ryan
Alright.
Reynolds and oh god. Ryan Reynolds. He takes him to Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel to their new laboratory. I know who it'd be by this point. It'd be like Josh Gad, something like that.
Yeah.
Josh Gad is the fanboy scientist this time round, and
So you're sticking with fanboy, even though you disapprove of it.
yeah, because it's too late to change it now. I was gonna go
Alright.
with Patton Oswalt anyway, so now I need a surrogate for Patton Oswalt because I forgot he died. That's really all Patton Oswalt did. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're taking Whistler for test to see why he's still alive, because he doesn't know.
That's peculiar. Let me run some tests.
Yeah. And it's been when we picked it up, it was actually 2 years later when he was driving
Alright.
that car around, and they figure out that Whistler is immortal, that he cannot be killed, and what they originally attributed to
He can just have limps. all of his death just goes to his leg.
but exactly, he's an immortal god man, and that's his Achilles heel. You see, that's his that's his humanity is all there in his leg. That's why it can never be fixed, because it's his link to the real world. But anyway, so everything we thought happened because a vampire bit him, or because he was shot himself in the head, or whatever. And he cannot be killed.
Right.
And it takes 2 years for his body to regenerate. And
And then he decides to hide in his car.
that's right, because after the explosion, he made it out, crawled into the car, and died. And he's been in there for 2 years, reanimating.
Blade just didn't notice?
Huh?
Blade just didn't notice him in the back of the car for 2 years?
No, he thought it was like a Grateful Dead blanket. He thought it was his poster of Chris Christopherson that he has with it.
You look remarkably like a country singer I like.
And so they say he cannot be killed. As in Blade 2, suddenly the laboratory is invaded by action types.
Action types.
Action types. And they kidnap Whistler, take him away.
Oh,
So,
man. Fucking Whistler can't catch a break.
But we go with Whistler to the place, to the headquarters of the action types, and they are a group, a subculture like the vampires, known as the Divines. Not Adam Devine, like Divine as in a more. They're Highlanders, but we won't call them that. But they're Highlanders.
But we know.
But we know, and so you'll join our ranks, and we're like you. They're planning a war. But they wanted to, and he's like, well, this is the. He said, I was fulfilling my destiny. This must have been my destiny all the time because I've spent my life fighting vampires. So I must have known in some way that I was immortal and that this was my destiny, to destroy the vampires, because that's what but the divines say, oh no, we're gonna take out vampires and humans. We're gonna take over the earth for good, and we're gonna eradicate.
So they got to work together again.
Well, they're saying we're gonna destroy vampires and humans.
Right.
Both are the problem. It's not an either-or situation. Both have to go. They're either, the fact that they're not immortal and the fact that they're immortal but in the wrong way means they both need to go.
So do we have a triple team up? The vampires, the Blade, and the humans?
Why would we have a team up? The immortals are trying to kill... Oh, right. Yes. So Whistler's basically, immediately, he escapes from... he escapes and he goes and finds...
This is like Paulie in your kidnapping Rocky constantly.
He doesn't get kidnapped. Well, he did get kidnapped, but now he's escaped. And actually, no, let's say Blade rescues him. That's better. That's stronger. Blade rescues him from the place, and he tells him what's going on. But Whistler is, well, would this really be so bad? If we, I'd make, it's like you're neither one nor the other, so they wouldn't attack you. And if they know I'm your friend, and obviously Blade is like, no, they said, but it would get rid of the vampires. It's like, yeah, but it would get rid of the humans. It's like, yeah, well, the humans are part of the problem. They're all familiars, and they're enabling the vampires.
Weak. Yeah.
So we've got this, we have this tension between the two of them. So eventually it ends up being Blade versus Whistler. Whistler leading the immortals, the divines, and Blade leading a combined army of vampires and humans to represent both sides of him. So it's about both of them coming to terms with their heritage in different ways.
All right.
Like, Blade has to acknowledge that he is both human and vampire. Right. Because he has to lead an army of both, and Whistler has to acknowledge that he is an immortal, and that by his birthright he stands above both vampires and mortals. So, Blade Divinity.
Nice.
So there you go.
There you have it.
So, a little bit of mythology rewriting there, but
yeah.
Like you say,
couple of worthy pitches, though.
I think so, yeah. I'm definitely down the batshit road, but
of course, expect nothing less.
It's been a while.
I
don't know. Actually, it hasn't been a while, has it? Because the last one was equally bananas.
Yeah, I forgot.
Okay, then I'm back on the batshit wagon.
All right. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Now it's in the hands of the people, Tom.
It's in the hands of the people. Blade Divinity or Blade Lost Souls.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to tell us what you think. Which pitch is your pitch? Or do you have your own pitch?
Yeah.
By all means, send it in to us and we will read it on air.
You could easily beat both of those.
Sure. That shouldn't be a problem.
No.
So find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram or Twitter, send an email to everythingsequel@gmail.com and let us know what you think or your idea. We want to hear it and we want to read it. For Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions, Michael Shantz here of the How Dare You Awards. We'll have a brand new series for you next time. Say goodbye, Tom.
Cock-juggling thunder cunt.
Fuck.
Yes, that is a line in the movie. I haven't suddenly developed Tourette's.
No, yeah.
So,
man, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I say we're road testing Deadpool here.
Exactly. All right. Until next time, everyone. Thanks for listening.
I like to think I know something about beer, but nowadays even I get overwhelmed when confronted by the exhaustive selection of craft beers they have at bars, breweries, and even grocery stores. Back in the day you had one, maybe two craft beers to choose from, and if you were confused, you ordered a Guinness. But in beerstinations like San Diego, the craft beer options lately are in double, sometimes even triple digits. So what's a beer drinker to do? You need what I need, the Vegas Beer Guys. Your beer of choice should be a perfect blend of malt and hops. And so a live show about beer needs that same balance. And the Vegas Beer Guys matches beer expert Dan Aker with self-proclaimed beer novice Stephen J. Weiss. The results are eminently drinkable. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They'll try new beers, they'll tell you about beer. Think of them as your beer Sherpas guiding you up a foamy-headed mountain to reach the peak of your pint. God, I need a beer.